Last week, I sat in on a first look at some new research from EMARKETER and Bain, which is a game changer in the sense that a lot of research in the retail media landscape comes from the perspective of the buyer, that is, brands and media buyers, as opposed to real perspectives from the sellers of retail media, as in the retail media networks themselves. This is the first research I've seen which turns the tables and asks the leaders of RMNs for their perspective on the promises and challenges of the industry. The full research is forthcoming, but here are my personal highlights from the webinar which previewed the research findings. But first, I need to educate my American listeners on a concept that seems tragically limited to Australia, and that is the babyccino. Traditionally, this was served free of charge to cafe patrons who brought small children along, and it is a small beverage in an espresso cup full of warm steamed milk with a cappuccino-style chocolate dusting and a marshmallow on the side. Now, my son loved babycinos and he delighted in the theater of consuming them as well, swiping a marshmallow across the foam, dramatically dunking it in the warm milk and sucking back the foamy drink. But on a recent jaunt back to Perth, I ordered him a babyccino at lunch and he refused it, saying, "I'm 8 years old, I'm not a baby, I'm not going to drink babycinos anymore." But partway through lunch, I noticed that the marshmallow had disappeared. Before we left, I asked him one more time if he'd drink it. "Fine, I'll drink it." He picked up the cup, turned around to make sure no one else was watching, and knocked the drink back like a shot of liquor. And that's the thing about growing up. You pretend you no longer care about the things that you used to enjoy. Even if you'd secretly still love a warm, foamy babyccino with a marshmallow on top, there comes a time when you have to act your age. And that is retail media right now. One of my highlights from this research is the difference between public confidence versus the private reality of retail media. Now, retailers are talking a big game about the maturity of their measurement capabilities publicly, even though in the report it is a self-described pain point. Measurement and attribution tops the list of challenges, with 48% of respondents citing it as their top challenge, followed closely by talent gaps and advertiser adoption. Now, nearly half of retail media network leaders admitting that measurement is their top challenge isn't just noteworthy, it's a confession that the industry's most basic value proposition remains unsolved. And this aligns with what I hear in private conversations with retail media network leaders who are often hamstrung by tech stacks that aren't fit for purpose. New leaders are arriving at retail media networks and discovering what many suspected, that the foundation isn't solid enough to break through a plateau of growth that was initially fueled by redistributing trade spend into retail media. Without careful planning around both tech and talent investments, many retail media networks risk getting stuck in what I've previously called the retail media doom loop, unable to grow beyond repackaged trade dollars and unable to justify the investment needed to escape. When your time, budget, and team are already maxed out, keeping up with retailer platforms and media requirements can feel like a never-ending labyrinth. That's why even the best brands bring in an execution partner. Acosta Group makes retail media execution simpler. They stay ahead of every platform update, tech shift, and media spec, so your campaigns actually show up and perform without draining your team. Let Acosta Group handle the chaos behind the scenes so you can keep building the brand. Check out acosta.group and tell them Retail Media Breakfast Club sent you. That's ACOSTA.group. Highlight number 2, Agentic AI tops the list of future concerns. The silence from most retailers around agentic commerce feels particularly conspicuous given where it ranks in the survey data. When retail media network leaders were asked about future disruptive forces, respondents put GenAI search disrupting discovery as the top potential disrupting force, with 36% of respondents saying that was the top issue. The second was agentic AI changing ad buyer decision making. I've been writing and speaking about this topic a lot, which is what happens to offsite and onsite ad spend in a world where entire segments of the current e-commerce purchase journey is managed by an AI shopping agent. I would be concerned about my job if I was an RMN head, and if I were a CFO or CEO, I'd be concerned about my entire net margin in 5 years. On the webinar, Stephen Mewborn, who is a partner and global leader of Bain's retail media and data monetization solutions practice, he said that retailers will need to experiment with alternate ways of working with brand partners to make up for the shortfall. I was, for one, very intrigued by what that could mean, but he didn't elaborate on what those alternatives might look like. Either time was running out on the webinar, or perhaps even the consultants are still working out the answers. So retail media is entering its awkward phase, no longer the scrappy startup that gets a pass for rough edges, but not yet mature enough to handle the scrutiny that comes with being a $200 billion industry. The things that worked when retail media was small, like managed services covering for limited self-serve capabilities, or trade dollars masking the need for genuine media buyer adoption, those things won't be acceptable in the future. My son eventually outgrew babyccinos. Will retail media networks eventually mature, or will they keep sneaking marshmallows when they think no one's watching?